And he said, I don't want to campaign for myself. You guys as the voters should be able to see who has an impact on winning. And then a few seconds later, he said, I think I am the MVP. And I don't care if you disagree with me. And I think the numbers are starting to bear that out.
Cade Cunningham just walked into Madison Square Garden without Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart and dropped 42 points, 13 assists and 8 rebounds on the Knicks. Swept them on the season. This guy has made himself a legitimate MVP candidate.
Cunningham! Oh! Left hand! Cunningham with the crank!
He's putting up 25 and 10 a night for the team with the best record in the NBA. This isn't some cute regular season story. This Pistons team has the second best defense in basketball, a top 10 offense, and they're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. They're walking into the toughest buildings in the league and beating teams at full strength, shorthanded, it doesn't matter. They don't care about your matchups, they don't care about your home crowd, and they definitely don't care about your feelings. And the guy setting that tone, the reason this team carries itself the way it does, is a 24-year-old point guard who might be the most no-nonsense leader in the entire league. So let's get into what's actually happening in Detroit right now, because this team is built different from anything else in the NBA, and it starts with the mentality of the guy running the show. Rick Carlisle has been coaching in this league for over 2 decades. He's seen every style of play, every type of team, and when asked about the Pistons this season, he said, they are tough, they are physical, and they play with an attitude, and they are mowing people down. Another veteran assistant coach called them Model Ts in a league full of Ferraris. They don't win with elegance, they don't win with pace. They win by making you uncomfortable for 48 minutes straight and daring you to match their physicality. And when you look at where that attitude comes from, it's a straight line from the coaching staff to the roster to Cade himself. JB Bickerstaff walked into Detroit with what everyone around the team described as an old school mentality. Dress code for practice, nobody gets handed minutes regardless of their contract or where they were drafted. You earn it or you sit. His first scrimmage with the team, guys were getting into it, little scraps, dust-ups, and as Bickerstaff put it, it was real. That's the environment Cade thrives in. He's not the kind of leader who gives motivational speeches and claps guys on the back. He leads by going to war every night and expecting everyone else to match his energy. And if you can't, you're not going to last on this roster. Think about it. 2 years ago, this team went through the worst season in franchise history. 14 wins, a 28-game losing streak, and when Cade talks about that year, he doesn't dress it up. His exact words, it was a bullshit year, but there was not a day where guys quit. That's the mentality. No excuses, no feeling sorry for yourself, just get to work. And now the roster around him has caught up to his standard. You're seeing what happens when a guy like that actually has the pieces to compete. And the numbers back it up completely. Detroit ranks second in the NBA in defensive rating at 108.4, trailing only Oklahoma City. They lead the entire league in blocks per game at 6.7. They lead in steals. They rank third in points allowed. Their net rating of plus 8.3 is second in the league.
Over there, McBride swatted into the stands.
This defense physically imposes its will on you until you break. Opponents are forced into contested mid-range jumpers and tough threes because getting to the rim against Duren and Stewart is basically a suicide mission. On offense, they're 10th in offensive rating, which makes them one of only a handful of teams that rank in the top 10 on both ends. Their offensive identity is built around the paint. They lead the entire NBA in points in the paint per 100 possessions at 56.5. They're second in fast break points and second in points off turnovers. They force you into mistakes and then make you pay immediately. It's not pretty basketball. It's not the kind of stuff that shows up on highlight reels, but it works, and it works against everybody. Now here's where the skeptics come in. Sure, great regular season team, but can they beat real competition? Let me just read you the record. Against other top 5 teams in the East, that's the Celtics, Knicks, Cavaliers, and Raptors, Detroit is 7-2. The obvious weakness is three-point shooting. The Pistons rank 21st in three-point percentage at 35% and 27th in attempt rate. In a playoff setting where the game slows down and half-court execution matters more, that could be a real issue. They also lead the league in fouls committed at 22.5 per game, which is just the cost of playing this aggressively. If the whistles tighten in the postseason, foul trouble for Duren and Stewart could be a factor. But here's the thing, this team knows all of that, and they don't care. They've decided who they are, and they're not adjusting for anybody. That kind of conviction comes from the guy with the ball in his hands every night. Cade is averaging 25.7 points and 9.7 assists this season. Those assists are second in the entire NBA. He's also putting up 5.7 rebounds, a career best 1.5 steals per game, and he ranks 7th among all guards in total blocks. For a point guard, his finishing at the rim has jumped to 65%, a career high. He's converting through contact now with both hands and with genuine power, not just touch and finesse. He got bigger, he got meaner, and he's punishing people at the rim because of it. Since February 1st, the numbers are borderline absurd. 27.3 points, 9.4 assists, 6.1 rebounds, 2.4 threes per game, plus 1.4 steals and a block. The Pistons are 23-9 in clutch games this season, best in the East, and Cade is the primary reason why. When the game is tight in the fourth quarter, this is the guy you're trusting with the ball, and he keeps delivering. No panic, no hero ball, just a guy who knows exactly what's needed and goes and does it. And despite all of this, the MVP conversation is still dominated by SGA and Jokic, both incredible players. This isn't about tearing anyone down, but Cade is leading the best team in the Eastern Conference, putting up monster numbers on both ends of the floor, and the national media treats him like an honourable mention. JB Bickerstaff put it plainly, if the MVP is the person that makes their team the best, then it's Cade. But here's what separates Cade from every other star in this conversation. He doesn't play politics. He doesn't play the media game, and he absolutely refuses to compromise how he plays basketball just to get more recognition. The internet calls him an ethical hooper, a guy who doesn't fail bait, doesn't flop, doesn't manufacture free throws to pad his numbers, and is fully aware of what that costs him. In his recent GQ profile, he was completely blunt about it. He talked about how people compliment the purity of his game and said that's one of his best compliments he's ever received. But then he followed it up with this, I'm not getting the same foul calls, so people feel like this guy might be better than me, and he's nowhere near better than me. And then he went further. He called out 3 of the NBA's top 5 players without naming them as floppers, said foul baiting is the biggest problem in the modern game. Most guys in his position would never say that publicly. They'd play nice, protect relationships, keep things diplomatic. Cade doesn't operate like that. He says what he thinks, and if that rubs people the wrong way, that's their problem. And that same energy shows up on the court every night. He doesn't complain to refs, he doesn't argue calls, he gets hit, gets back up, and runs the next play. Tobias Harris, who's been around the league long enough to have seen every kind of leader, had this to say about him. His composure is at a level that you don't see in guys his age throughout the league. He's a winner, man. He really is. There's guys who want to win MVP and guys who want to win championships. Cade is in Detroit, a city that most national basketball media treats as an afterthought, playing on a team that wins through collective toughness rather than individual highlight plays, and he's choosing to win the right way rather than optimize his stats for voter appeal. He could average 30 a night if he wanted to. If he started hunting fouls like the guys he called out, his numbers would look even more absurd, but that's not how he's wired. He'd rather let the results speak for themselves. And honestly, that mentality is exactly what makes Detroit so dangerous. When your best player doesn't care about individual accolades and only cares about winning, that filters through the entire locker room. Every guy on this roster plays with that same edge because the guy leading them sets the standard every single night. The thing is, Cade knows exactly where he stands. When GQ asked him about the MVP race, he said, I think I am. And if you don't agree with me, that's your opinion. That's not a guy who's begging for validation. That's a guy who's already moved past the conversation and is focused on something bigger. And if you're a team that has to face Detroit in a 7-game series this playoffs, that should terrify you. The other thing that doesn't get enough attention is the roster around Cade, because this isn't a one-man show, and the depth of this team is a massive reason they're going to be a nightmare in the postseason. Jalen Duren is the second All-Star, and at 22, he might be the most exciting young center in basketball right now. He's putting up 17.7 points, 10.4 rebounds. His net rating when he's on the court is a plus 11.3, the highest on the team. And he has a positive two-man net rating with every single player on the roster. His rim protection grade jumped by 10 points from last season, and his partnership with Cade in pick and roll is becoming one of the most lethal two-man actions in the league. Teams are having to pick their poison every possession, and there's no good answer. Osar Thompson might be the best perimeter defender in the NBA. Sports Illustrated named him the bad boy of the midseason. And if you've watched him play, you know why. The guy guards anyone, any position, with the kind of intensity that makes opposing wings dread getting switched onto him. Isaiah Stewart is the enforcer, arguably the best rim protector pound for pound in the league. He got suspended for 7 games after a fight with Charlotte, and somehow that just made the team's identity stronger. Nobody on this roster backs down from anyone, and Stewart is the reason why. Duncan Robinson gives them spacing, 2.9 threes per game, and the question about him is pure defensive. Can he hold up in playoff series when teams start hunting him? That's a fair concern. But the real surprise of the season might be Dennis Jenkins, the backup point guard shooting 40% from 3 with one of the lowest turnover rates among ball handlers in the league. Detroit trading Jaden Ivey to Chicago was a direct vote of confidence in what Jenkins brings. And even Paul Reed, the depth piece nobody talks about, stepped up and dropped 22 points against Toronto when both Duran and Stewart were suspended. This is a complete roster, top to bottom. Every guy knows his role and plays it with aggression. That culture of toughness and accountability that Cade sets, it's in every player on this team. And when you combine that kind of depth with a group that's already proven it can beat the best in the league, that's a scary combination heading into April. And one more thing, and it's the storyline that makes this postseason appointment viewing. The Knicks eliminated the Pistons in 6 games last year. This season, Detroit swept them 3-0 and outscored them by a combined 84 points. Cade averaged 26 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 7.7 assists across the 3 games. That 42-point game with no bigs, that was Cade telling the entire league exactly who he is. You can take our guys away, you can put us in the toughest environment in basketball, and we're still going to beat you. No excuses, no adjustments, just straight up dominance. That's not a fluke performance from a guy having a good night. That's a statement from a leader. If these two teams meet again in the playoffs, and with Detroit holding home court this time, it's going to be one of the best series we've seen in years. The Knicks know what's coming, their fans know what's coming. And given what Cade has already done to them 3 times this season, there's no amount of preparation that makes that matchup feel comfortable for New York. The Pistons are the team to beat in the East and making a serious case for a championship run. Their core is between 22 and 24 years old, and none of them are afraid of anyone in this league. That fearlessness comes from the top, and it comes from a guy who calls out floppers on the record, who tells GQ he's the MVP without flinching, who walks into hostile arenas missing half his lineup and drops 42. The NBA's problem with Cade Cunningham isn't that he's bad for the league, it's the exact opposite. He's everything the league should want to celebrate. A no-bullshit leader who plays the right way, makes everyone around him better, and wins. The problem is that the media, the MVP voters, the people who control the narrative, they've been slow to recognise what's happening in Detroit. And if this team makes a deep playoff run, that problem is going to get a whole lot bigger. Can Cade win MVP? Drop your take in the comments. Hit the like and hype buttons, subscribe for more videos like this, and check out one of these on your screen now.